Heyo.
Hey, I was gonna try to post something on Instagram and be like, "We're gonna go live," but then 30 seconds just isn't enough time. Thanks, StreamYard.
It's about to go down.
All right, so Justin, so much has happened, and we can't even talk about it yet. We have to wait, and everybody watching is probably
gotta
like,
do the intro.
"Who's this new person? Oh, we haven't even done the intro yet." All right. What's up, Pokemon trading card game fans? Welcome to episode 171 of the Special Conditions podcast, the TCG podcast where love for competing and collecting collide. Like this. And then they just kind of like melt into each other.
Oh.
And become harmony,
explosion.
Special Conditions is part of the Pokemon Professor Network, and today is April 17th, 2024. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Tuttle. I am joined today not only by Justin Keller, my co-host. We have a new voice, a new face joining us. Andy from our community, our Discord, our fellow TCG enthusiast.
And sleep enthusiast.
And sleep enthusiast. Let's not forget, Pokemon sleep does not get. We need to have a podcast. Like, I know we talk about it, but we need to have like a Pokemon sleep segment in the TCG segment.
There we
Not
go.
that it really matters, but they're shiny Pokemon, and getting a good night's sleep is part of becoming a better trainer. So I think that it does deserve a spot. So Justin and I are going to talk later, and we might come up with a segment here.
Yeah.
But anyway, on today's show, we will discuss introducing Andy, who he is, why he's here. We will talk about the Orlando regionals that just happened. And let me just tell you, Chapow was in the top 8. Two of them.
Frosty.
Right? 4 and 8, pretty sure. And we'll talk about Andy's Orlando run and a little bit of theory on Pokeballs. And Pokeballs in the TCG specifically.
It's just a 50% Master Ball.
This is true. This is true. And you can get rid of it without needing to have any requirements. You could just play it. But we'll get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Let me just adjust my seat here.
You gotta keep it spicy, not just all sit in the same spot.
Yeah, well, we're here. All right, Justin.
Did you see the chats popping off already?
I haven't even looked at the chat. What's going
Casa
on in the
the
chat?
Cubone's here. Lunatonian's here.
Pokemon's in here.
Pop Punk.
David Keller. What's going on? Hey.
Fellow Keller.
Rock. Keller. And the Keller. Haas. And Justin Keller. And David Keller. There's a lot of Kellers going around. Do you have any... Do you know a Seth
I keep
Keller
forgetting
by
about your
chance?
Keller house.
I know. Do you know a Seth Keller by chance?
I do not.
Is he a descendant? Is he your great-grandfather or something?
Yes,
I need to know
yes.
these things.
How'd you know?
Casa the Cubone. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, Casa the
Happy
Cubone.
birthday.
The Lunatonian's in the house. We should have had the Lunatonian on too. I don't know what we were thinking. Maybe in the next regional. All right. So, man, all I want to do is play Pokemon.
And
Like,
one of the three of us
It is
did it
bad.
last weekend.
One of the three of us did it last weekend. All right. Andy, who are you?
Yeah.
Tell us a little
Andy.
bit about yourself.
Sure, yeah. Andy, been playing Pokemon TCG basically since Silver Tempest came out. Basically, I think that was in the fall. My daughter
Man,
went
that's a short time. That's a short period to be playing it.
like year
It's
and
a year and a
or
half.
so.
Year and a half.
Yeah, but like
So-
most time people are like, oh, it started in the Sun and Moon, or it started with Sword
Yeah.
and Shield. Silver Tempest.
That's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
So basically, my daughter went to first grade and came home and was like, Dad, everybody at school has Pokemon cards. I want to play Pokemon cards. I didn't know anything about Pokemon cards. I had like played the original game. Like I was in sixth grade, I think, when the Red and Blue came out, like a heyday for Game Boy and getting into Pokemon. And so I was really into Pokemon. They played Red and Blue, played silver and gold, and then like went to college, stopped playing Pokemon, and then basically like, I don't know, 8 years later or something, I think, right when Sun and Moon maybe were coming out, or maybe right before that, like got this nostalgia kick and like got back into playing the game, like the video game, but had never touched Pokemon cards until a year and a half ago, and basically told my daughter like we could start buying Pokemon cards if we learn how to play the game. Like all these kids in first grade are just like, she came home with this like Mewtwo V, we still have it upstairs, and it's like it's been bent and folded like 1,000 times.
That's the
like,
worst. That is the worst.
But we originally just kind of got into collecting. So we went and bought a Pokemon Go tin at Target. I think it had 2 booster packs in it. And we got a Radiant Charizard. And like, I knew enough about Pokemon to be like, oh, we got like this Charizard card. Like, let's look it up. And, you know, we looked it up and I think we saw it was worth $20 or something like that. And I didn't know anything about like grading a card or like, and so see these different prices, whatever. But so that got her really interested in like the collecting piece, and then we bought the like box that has it comes with like 3 decks, like super basic.
Oh, the Battle Academy.
The Battle Academy.
Yes, we bought the Battle Academy. We started playing a little bit, and then I got kind of like hooked between like the nostalgia factor and just like liking the game and like, you know, knowing most of the Pokemon and stuff, and and just got into it, and it kind of has spun from there, and I got more and more into it. And then I was looking for a podcast essentially to try to start learning more, and you guys were the first one I came across, and so
sweet.
Well, we appreciate that.
There we are.
And now we've come full circle. Now you're on the podcast.
Now you're on the
talking.
podcast.
That's right, yeah. Made it to the big times.
No, this is exciting. Now, what are some of the decks that you started playing with?
Yeah, so I think started right after Silver Tempest, and so started playing on. It wasn't
heavy
PTCG
Lugia
Live. It was the like older
PTCGO.
one, right?
Yeah.
So honestly, what I really got started with were the theme deck games that they had on that.
Yep.
That's how I started.
Yeah, and so it was the Necrozma. I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
Yeah.
Necrozma, yeah.
It was, I forget exactly what it did. It's like if you had a special energy on it, it did like 100 extra damage or something like that. And I could play that deck like the back of my hand. And then, but like because it was hard to get like good cards to play the actual game in that, from what I remember.
Yes.
But so we started buying more cards. I'm getting like the little, you know, the codes to like get my, you know, packs and currency or whatever on PTCG Live. And I was just like grinding the ladder to get like more codes and stuff and the in-game currency or whatever, and unlock packs. And it probably, I think I started playing the Shadow Rider Calyrex a little bit at the time.
Oh, yep. That's a good one.
I like just happened to get like the right cards to be able to play it pretty quickly. And really just kind of like playing the game kind of daily, eventually over a couple months, finally got caught up enough and we had bought enough cards where I'd like just gotten enough codes and had enough to be viable,
to be able to play like something
to be dangerous.
Yeah, and like win those like 2 little missions that they have on PTCG Live every day to like go to the next level. And once you build up like enough currency and you start getting the same cards, you get more of the currency. And I don't know. I would tell people if they're just starting, like, you kind of got to grind, unless you're just going to buy a lot of codes, which I think you can do. You could kind of casually grind the ladder for a couple months, and you'll be in a pretty good spot to kind of play whatever you want. But I think it was Lugia originally. I'm trying to think, and then rotation happened. So I started playing right at the end of the full, I guess DEF block, and then
the full Sword and Shield block. Yeah,
the full Sword and Shield block, and then we rotated like a year ago, I guess. And I'm trying to think, I played a little bit of Gardevoir when it first came out. I played some Arceus. I was on like an Arceus Regidrago kick for a minute. Won one of the special condition tournaments with my coin flip Jirachi.
Yes, yep.
Man.
Oh, geez, I forgot about that.
I don't even think I was playing the Lunatonian, I think, and I don't even think he got to play the game because my Jirachi got out there like turn 1 and took out a Duraludon or VMAX or something like that. But yeah, once we hit that last rotation, I didn't start, and then I got into Iron Valiant, right? I got into Iron Valiant. Entei was the first deck I bought, like physical cards of like legit, like a legit non like total rogue meme deck. Even though that deck kind of is rogue meme, I think at this point. But yeah, so started playing a little bit live, in person with Valiant Entei, and then I've got this affinity for like bizarre decks, right? And then I picked up Serena EX for a while. You guys made me feel real good about myself in that Mew tournament we had. Then I took that to Knoxville, and we know how that went.
Oh man.
Yeah, but like that, like there's a reason that like they printed specific cards that were like 30 hit points. 30 hit points. Like it blows my mind that it's not better. Like we have to be missing something right now. We have to be missing something. Because those cards came out in the set.
Yeah, it did. It won like a City League recently in Japan in like with a Lost Box engine. It was Lost Box Serena EX. So it's got the Comfys and the Sableye and Cramoran. I think it's playing that Crisis Punch.
Okay, to put
Crisis
things
Punch
within knockout range.
And then so if you you Serena EX a couple things, you bring in a Sableye and finish them off, right? So I don't know. It's okay. It's inability to just one hit KO anything is its problem, right? But
yeah. But you came up with a bunch of things.
It's fun
like
though.
Playing that Elekid, like that was clutch.
Elekid, the Zarud V for the I think.
Yeah, that was.
Justin didn't know what I was doing yet in the tournament and had 2 Mew VMAXs up, and so I got the six prize KO. At the
oh man, the worst feeling, 6 prize KO.
And then he wouldn't put down two Mew VMAXs in a row the rest of the time we played.
I wonder why.
But it's a fun deck, but not viable for a regional, I don't think.
So you played some live. Have you gone to much locals? I know you're busy man, father of 2.
Yeah, got 2 little girls, 7 and 4. So I went to a League Cup in December with Entei Valiant. Went 2 and 3. Then like a month or 2 ago, went back but with Charizard, did 3 and 2 and missed top cut. We get like 20 to 30 people at these League Cups locally, and it's 5 rounds, and basically you have to go 4 and 1, and everybody there's like 8 people who are 4 and 1 or better after 5 rounds, and they just all ID, and so like the 5th round doesn't even matter. But so I went 3 and 2, and then went again a few weeks ago, and I went 3 and 1, and then everybody in top 8 ID'd. So I went 3-1-1, and with Charizard again, and this is pre-rotation, and made top 8. I think I was 5th or 6th going into top 8.
Oh, nice.
Played Gardevoir, and we went. Top cut was best of 3. We each won a game, and then we ran out of time. And so then it was just whoever takes a card first, whoever takes a prize first wins this like sudden death or whatever.
Yeah.
He's playing Gardevoir. I'm playing Charizard. I'm like, I've got this in the bag.
Yeah.
But he goes first. I think he discards 1 psychic energy. I go get my full board out. I've got like 2 rare candies, Charizard. Like my next turn, I am evolving Charizard, and I am taking a knockout on a Ralts or something, right? His second turn, he rare candies into the Gardevoir EX. He had something else in the active. I think he attached, retreated, and he somehow ended up with 3 energy in the discard pile. promoted his Gardevoir EX, which you would never do in like a real game, right? Like you're going to protect
Yeah.
around the pen
Yeah.
and use it to move energies. But when he only needs one prize card, he moves it into the active, attaches 3 energy to the Gardevoir EX, and knocks out like my Charmander. No, I purposely moved the Rotom V into the active so he would have a harder time like getting some kind of quick KO on his second turn. And he pulls out the Gardevoir EX into the active, attaches 3 energy, and does 190 damage to knock out my Rotom V, and I lose. So I did as well as I could have. There's nothing else I could have done, but anyway. And then I went to Orlando, and so I went. My first one I went 2 and 3. Then I went 3 and 2. The third one I went 3-1-1. So I'm like improving every time, and then I went to Orlando.
I think if you net positive in your results, like even if you went like 5 and 4, like that's still positive. You know what I mean? Like you still won more than you lost. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
We got Pure Lighter in the house. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, appreciate you being here.
So you were at Orlando, boots on the ground. What was the feeling like? Now, this was your second regional. How did you approach this one differently than your first one?
Yes, the first one was local, like an hour and a half from my house. Went in with kind of low expectations. I think part of the reason I played Serena in the back of my head was like I felt pretty good about the deck, but like, also went in kind of with lower expectations, right?
Sure.
And I got a lower outcome result, if you will.
Yeah.
But so when this one I'm getting on a plane, like, spending time and resources against going. I wanted to do as well as I could, right? And so it was kind of between, first big tournament post rotation. Charizard has been doing super well comparatively, but the new thing I'm doing instead of buying like booster packs is whenever a new set releases, I'm just going to buy a new deck. Like, typically it's just going to be a few main cards, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to basically when Lugia won the Champions League in Japan, I was like, I'm just going to buy Lugia. Like if it won Champions League in Japan, it's good enough for me to play. And I already had Charizard, right? And so it was basically between Lugia and Charizard. Thought they were both good decks. Didn't really want to play the Charizard mirror match all day in Orlando.
I feel that.
Kind of the reason I didn't want to play Charizard. And just like...
Yeah, because you have to imagine that everybody there playing Charizard, not everybody, but most players playing Charizard will know the mirror match better than you do.
Right, yeah. And I played a decent amount of Charizard, but this was the largest regionals of all time. Like there's crazy. A lot of good players there. Yeah, I've got it here. They passed out this, it says, I don't know if you see it, record breaker.
Oh, nice. That's thing. Cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool little memento they had.
Whoa, can I see the front of it again?
Yeah, let me see if I can move this out of the way.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Yeah. And then, that's cool. Yeah, Record Breaker 2024.
But so, yeah, one was between Charizard and Lugia. Wanted to play a competitive deck. Had played Lugia previously, like we talked about when it, a couple rotations
back in
ago,
Silver Tempest format.
Yeah, had all those crazy energies you could attach to it.
Evil Tall.
Yeah. But so just kind of just settled on Lugia. I had done really well with it online. I was winning like over 70% of my games. And so I went with Lugia.
I was a little nervous at first when you said you were going to play Lugia because I saw how poorly it did at EUIC. And I was like, well, but if everyone thinks that, it's kind of like a reverse psychology thing. People aren't like teching for it. So then it's when it can kind of slide in. It's like, maybe this is the right call.
Yeah, and it's bad matchups on paper are Turbo Hands, obviously, and Qian Pao. But I had done pretty well against both those decks. I think I played about 10 games against each of them and had gone about 50-50. And like, if I'm going 50-50 against my worst matchup, like I feel pretty good about that. And was doing really like,
what was your strategy for them?
I mean, you have to, against those
matchup
you have
dependent.
To get set up like, you just have to get, I mean, Lugia's strategy against everything is basically like, just get set up as quickly. Like turn 2 double Archeops, right?
Yeah.
The biggest thing that helped me with Lugia was the week before Orlando. I was listening to Chip and Azul's podcast, and Azul was recapping EUIC, and he said he had talked to, I don't remember the guy's name, but like whoever the top Lugia finisher was. And he was like, yeah, I don't know how you're playing that deck. Like, it's so inconsistent. And the guy's comment was like, oh, it's not inconsistent at all. Like, read the wind, call for family. Like, those are awesome, turn one options for Lugia.
Yeah.
And the way I had been playing Lugia and doing well, but the way I had been playing Lugia was I want to go first. Because if I go first and I on turn 2 am set up with double Archeops, like the game's over. Like I just win. The problem is it's really hard to set up Lugia on turn 2 if you go first because you're not playing a supporter on turn 1. But if I go second and I'm either reading the wind with Lugia, I'm playing a supporter, I'm reading the wind, or call for family with Mincino. To either get another Mincino and Lugia or just extra Mincinos, whatever. Snorlax if I'm playing a Lost Box matchup. And then on turn 2, I'm playing another supporter. So it's like play 2 supporters and to read the wind. I'm getting set up like all the time. And it makes the deck more consistent. So like I looked at it as I've been playing the deck wrong the whole time. And so my strategy changed from always wanting to go first, which is great if you get set up, but it's hard to get set up, to going second and having a more consistent turn 2 setup than if I had been going first and just kind of playing the game out from there. But yeah, I mean, the strategy is basically, get set up and, get the Archeops, get set up, and then get as many Cincinos up as you can simultaneously. Because if you can only get up one at a time, they just get hunted. And because you've got to evolve it, like you've got to have as many Mincinos down as possible and get those Cincinos out super quick. But,
and are you playing like a 4-3 line, or what are you playing?
Yeah, so I had been doing really well and practicing with the 3-3 Cincino and 3-3 Lugia V-Star. I've played every variation of Lugia V-Star. But I was like, people talk about the consistency of playing the 4-3 Cincino and the 4-3 Lugia V-Star, but like in my testing, I didn't need it. And so I just went with the 3-3 on both to have the extra item and extra supporters. The other thing I was playing from a setup standpoint, which I haven't seen anybody else play, and I think I mentioned in the Discord, as Azul mentioned, he had never seen anybody else play, was the TM Evolution. And so I played a 1 of Arven and a 1 of TM Evolution so that I could pull an Ultra Ball or a Master Ball and the TM Evolution. So like, and there were games where, so like if I'm playing a Luminion, right? And I'm only playing, I think it's 11 basic Pokemon. There's a pretty good chance over the course of a, regional tournament, I'm going to start a game with Luminion in the active. And like that happened. But if I'm going second and I've got Luminion in the active and I've got Arven, I can pull the Arven. I've got an Ultra Ball, potentially discard some Archeops.
Wait a minute. You only have one Arven, though.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
So the chances of you having the one Luminion active and the one Arven in your hand and nothing you need prized?
Well, so there's the Team Evolution itself. There's the Arven itself. So that's 2. And then if Luminion's not prized, like I can put Luminion down. I've got a collapsed stadium to get rid of the Luminion. But so like, I don't remember the exact situations, but it feels like there was a time I might have started with Team Evolution in my hand, right? But it feels pretty good if you've got a Lugia in the active. So you say you're playing Charizard, right? You go second, you're playing Charizard. You have Lugia down. You have 2 Cincinos. Say you Ultra Balled Archeops or something. So like you're on your way to getting rid of the Archeops. Maybe you're going to be able to get rid of them turn 2 unless you get Ionoed or something. You slap down the TM Evolution, 1 energy. I played 16 energy in the deck. So like you're going to have an energy turn 1. And all of a sudden, instead of a Lugia and 2 Mincinos on your bench, you've got a Lugia and 2 Cincinos. Or if you had a Cincino in the active, or a Mincino in the active. Yeah. Now you've got a Lugia V-Star and a Cincino on your bench. Get rid of that last Archeops, and you're just rolling turn 2.
Wow.
So it definitely worked a couple times. I've since taken it out. coming back. I just, you know, I'm back
You
on
gotta
this,
try some things.
but-
Back on the Pokeball and the
All
coin
right.
flips.
Pokeball
But
flex.
So you casually mentioned it. So tell the listeners you did play against Azul during the match.
yeah. So I mean, the tournament went well. My first game I played against Lost Tina. The guy I could tell just from kind of talking to the guy for a couple of minutes before we started, like he's like trying to get to Worlds. Like, so I'm like, okay, this is going to be like a good player. We turn over our cards. I see he's playing Lost Tina. I win game one pretty quickly. Like he scoops mid game or something. So I got it set up and started rolling.
Yeah.
Game two, he wins. Then we run out of time. I think I was going to win game three, but we tie. And then I played an Ancient Box. I beat the Ancient Box, no problem, 2-0. It might have been 1-0, and then we ran out of time, but I was going to win. Then I played 3 of the what is it? The Dunsparce Roaring Moon.
Oh no.
I played 3 in a row. I won the first 2. The first round that I played, the Dunsparce Roaring Moon, he was playing Pokemon catchers. And I won game 1. Game 2, I won game 1 on like turn 2. I donked him. And then game 2, he was going to lose. I had my Ultra Ball. I had my Archeops in the discard pile. All I needed to do was use my Ultra Ball to get Lugia V-Star. And I used my Ultra Ball to get Snorlax because I was so excited. I wanted the Snorlax bench too because it would have been helpful.
Oh,
but
yeah.
In my mind, I was moving too quickly, and I ended up losing game 2. And then game 3 came down to he had his last card in his deck. He drew it. It was a Pokemon catcher. He needed to flip heads to move my Lumineon into the active to KO it. And he rolled a tails. And
oh wow.
I could have either passed and he wouldn't have had any cards, or I had the knockout anyway.
Yeah.
So I won. And
What
so
a way to
that
end
Did
that
you
game.
pass or did you knock him out?
I think I knocked him out.
Yeah.
Or is it just like, oh yeah, you win?
It was
no matter
Adam,
what,
you know,
blah, blah, blah.
Mama
I
said
think we
knock.
did.
Mama said knock you out.
But so I won that. I won the second game against the next round against the Dunsparce Roaring Moon. So I'm like, what am I, 3-1-1 at that point? Feeling really good about myself.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I play a third Dunsparce Roaring Moon. Guy rolls up with his champion playmat. I'm like, oh, thanks a lot. And
He just bought it on eBay. It's all right.
yeah, he's like it's old. Don't worry. But
That's what they all say.
Yeah, I lost to him. That deck's really annoying. Lugia takes a long time because you're constantly Pokemon searching, you're constantly pulling energies out, so you're constantly reshuffling. So it's kind of a slow deck to play. And then the Dunsparce deck, it's all right. I've got my 3 Dunsparce out. I get 3 the Dunsparces out. I pull 3 cards, shuffle them back in for the first one. Pull 3 cards, shuffle it back in for the second one. Pull 3 cards, shuffle it back in for the third one. And they're just like, so the game takes a while. And I think we only finished the one game and I lost. Then I played Charizard against one of the, I don't know, like my hands started cramping up as we're playing cards. Like I never played
So much
cards for this long, I
shuffling.
guess. And this guy is one of these guys. It's just like, and he's like psyching me out a little bit. But he's playing Charizard. I win game 1. I win game 2. Like it was pretty straightforward. I feel pretty good with the Lugia matchup against Charizard. The only way I lose is if Charizard just gets like instantly set up. He went first. I think all the Charizard players who are choosing to go first are making a mistake. I've played it a little bit both ways. I think you're just so much better off starting second if they take out one of your Pokemon that on their second turn going first. I think that is
the right and correct play.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, people have gotten more aggressive with it, trying to go first. But anyway, so I beat him, and so then I'm 4-1-1. We're going into round 7, and I refreshed my app or the webpage or whatever, and it's like, you were playing AzulGG. And I'm like, I saw him earlier in the day, like before the tournament started, like, because I'm just milling around. I don't know anybody else there.
Yeah. Did you say hello or let the casual, I'm going to leave him alone?
I left him alone, and he's sitting there, like he's so diligent about like re-sleeving his cards. He's just sitting there before the tournament, sleeving his cards.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see what he's sleeving up. Just
Yeah.
I'm not expecting to play Azul.
Yeah.
At 8:30 in
And
the morning before we start.
a 2400 master tournament.
Right, right. And
But you're also doing well, so
Yeah.
there's a chance.
and I
Did you guys
I
have the
knew,
same record at that time?
Yes, we're both 4-1-1 going into round 7 of the largest regionals of all time. And so like looking back on it, it's like round 7 of a 9-round tournament. Like I'm sitting across from Azul. Like I'm doing as good as Azul. Like this has been a success. Like no matter what happens at this point.
Yeah,
like,
no,
Hey,
that's
you were filling us in the Discord. I was so hyped for you. I was like, it's like I'm
I saw
there.
Adam pushing the Lugia match for the stream. We didn't get it, but
Oh.
I was trying.
But so yeah, I sit down. He walks over to the table. It's very nice, super polite. Like you can kind of tell like he's just like it's kind of a business trip for him, right? Like he's famous, right? For all intents and purposes, he's certainly famous in like the Pokemon TCG world.
Yeah, of course.
And like you could kind of just tell, I think, by like his body language, he's just trying to get through the day without too many people like
Yeah.
just coming up to him. So I'm just playing it cool. I'm not like, oh my god, Azul. But
No, like that's actually what he wants.
Yeah.
He wants that,
but-
so you get distracted.
That's
And
funny.
you misplay because you're like,
Okay.
Azul.
yeah, but so I knew he played Lost Tina to EUIC. So I just kind of I was prepared for him to flip over Lost Tina. He does. And he's playing the Temple of Sinnoh, which shuts off all special energy, which is a problem for Lugia.
Yes.
Most of the special energy, honestly, right now doesn't have too huge of an effect on the game. I mean, the gift energy, like in that matchup at least, the gift energy is important. Well, no, I take it back. The gift energy is important from a draw standpoint. The V-Guard energy is specific. I play one V-Guard energy. It's specifically very important in that matchup because it stops the lost impact from one-hit KOing a Lugia V-Star, right? Instead of 280 damage, it does 250, so you survive that. And then the Mist energy, I played. A lot of the decks were playing 2 Mist energies going into it and 4 double turbos. I cut one double turbo for a 3rd Mist energy. I just felt I was more likely to see Roaring Moons and or Tinas and
I think that's the
or
correct
Stabilize. Yeah, and so I had that set up as well. And I don't know that I had practiced a game against anybody on any deck that had played Temple of Sinnoh. And so he basically got me. I had a Lugia V-Star with Mist energy on it, V-Guard energy on it.
How many stadiums did you play?
Just the one collapsed, no vacuum. So I hadn't run into Temple of Sinnoh.
Yeah.
So like
yeah.
it was not a like I'm aware of the card, but it was not a tech I was like prepared to counter. And anybody who was going to play it was going to stick. Like I think at one point in the game, the Temple of Sinnoh down, and I had my collapsed stadium in hand, and then he Roxanned me, I think, and that was like the end of it, right? Because game 1, I got set up right away. At one point in the game, I was beating Azul. That's an accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
But because I had my Lugia set up with the 4 energy, so it's doing the full 220.
Yeah.
And he I Serena'd up a unevolved Tina, which has 220 HP, took it out. So I take an early 2-prize lead against Azul. He's able to come back with Radiant Greninja'ing 2 of my Mincinos, though, which is just like brutal. And so he's hunting my Mincinos both games that we play.
Yeah.
And at one point, he has the Temple of Sinnoh up. I have Archeops up. I've got my Lugia V-Star. Lugia V-Star's attack gets rid of the stadium as well.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
I have right. So that's my tech, I guess, against getting rid of it. But so I have Temple of Sinnoh's up. I have a double turbo and 2 other non-double turbos.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got the 4 energy, but I forget that the Temple of Sinnoh is there to turn off the double turbo. I had the Archeops up. I could have attached a 5th energy to get rid of the Temple of Sinnoh, but I forgot. I'm like, attack, get rid of your Temple of Sinnoh. It's like, He's like, no, Temple of Sinnoh turns off your energy. I'm like, oh,
No.
so like,
And you weren't like, oh, okay, Archeops to bring it up because like you can't declare an attack that you can't use, you know.
I don't know. That's where like my inexperience with like the fine details of the rules maybe like cost me,
and
like,
I think
in a situation like that.
Playing that off, we're like, I'm not gonna say anything, but you can't do that. Sorry, you know, like
yeah. But
see,
so
the spirit of the game should have been like, listen, you can't do it currently, but there's also other stuff you could do.
Yeah, but
now in a local setting, that might happen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Not in a 9-round tournament where you're grinding games all day long.
Yeah, but so I lose 2-0 to Azul. Yeah, it's kind of like a bucket list thing. When's the next time I'm going to play Azul in Pokemon cards, right? Like, so.
Yeah.
Maybe Indianapolis. Maybe
well,
LA.
I won't be there now. So.
Yeah. But it's funny. Like you think like you see all these people on stream all the time. They seem like, they're quote unquote famous, but they're very like accessible people. Like for example, after Arlington in 2022, I was just casually talking to Tord because he was there and just hanging out after the thing had ended, and I was just like, yeah, it's happened to be one of the few people left.
Yeah, I ran into Tord in the bathroom.
Yeah, nice.
You're like, oh, you're washing your hands too? You're like, oh no, just kidding.
Yeah.
But so yeah, after Azul, I didn't even know the math on like making day 2 correctly, right?
Yeah.
After Azul, I'm 4-2-1. There's 2 rounds left. If I go 6-2-1, I make day 2. I have 19 points and I make it. But I go to my next match saying, the guy who sits down, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess we're not going to day 2 or whatever. He's like very focused and all about it. He's like, no, he's talking about like this gentleman's agreement thing he had in his previous game. I don't really know what he's talking about. But so he's like talking really fast and he's like very focused. My mind, I just played Azul. I lost. I thought I couldn't make day 2 anymore. I'm kind of out of it. But he's like, no, whoever wins our game, if you win your next game, you make day 2. And I'm like, oh shoot. And so I kind of like refocus myself. We start playing. He's playing Lost Gudra, which he had to mulligan, and so he shows me his cards. He throws over. He shows a metal energy, and so in my head I'm like, oh, he's playing Dialga. Like I wasn't expecting to play a Dialga today. And then he flips over like a Comfey, and I'm like, oh, you're not playing Dialga. You're playing Lost Gudra. And he's like, you're the first person today who has had any idea what I'm playing once I flipped my cards over. And the only reason I knew it was because I knew that the juniors winner at EUIC was a Lost Gudra deck. So I was like, I hadn't tested against it, but I was like familiar with it. I know what Gudra does. I win game 1 pretty easily. The scariest thing on his board is the Zamazenta that like after a knockout does an extra 120 damage. And so it can take out basically anything on my board except for a Lugia V-Star. But even if he hits a Lugia V-Star with it, then it's going to get Sableye potentially later. But so basically hunt his Zamazentas down, get rid of his Gudra before he gets any energy on it, and win game 1 pretty easily. He wins game 2, and then he starts talking about this gentleman's agreement thing again with me before game 3. And so basically what he did in his previous round was because he was coming off of a round where he had tied before, I think, where I was coming off of going into the Azul game a win. And so basically they had each won their one game respectively, and they had a gentleman's agreement that essentially like whoever had, because of their records at the time, if they tied the round before I played him, neither of them would have had a shot at day 2. They had to win that game and then win their last 2.
Yeah.
And so they had an agreement. Whoever essentially had the better board state, if it was definitive in game 3.
Oh yeah, I've heard this. Yeah.
The worst board state would like hand over the win to the better board state. So at least that guy would have a chance to make day 2 still. But so we got like 2 turns into our game and it was like a stalemate still at that point. And so we took the tie, and then I went into my last round against Mill, which Lugia should be 100 times out of 100. I won game 1 like no sweat. And then game 2, the guy was very nice. I have nothing to lose at this point. Like I can't make day 2. I'm just telling him this story about Azul, not focusing on what I'm doing. And I'm like, I'm just in the mode of like, I need 2 Archeops no matter what I'm doing. And so I start like overextending myself.
Oh no.
to get the second Archeops out. And he eventually, he gets a Mawile up. He traps one of my Archeops. And at that point, I've expended so much. He's able to mill some of my energy. I have 2 energy left in my deck. Neither are a double turbo. And I can't attack with the Archeops. And it's stuck there. And so he wins game 2. And then we didn't have time to finish game 3. So I tied against the mill deck. So I went 4, 2, and 3. I should have been 5, 2, and 2 if I had been focusing against the mill deck. But all in all,
that's still a positive, though.
Oh,
that's still positive.
First serious regional I've gone to.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't been playing that long. To go 4, 2, and 3, you know, I believe except for my round against Azul, every round I played, I at least won 1 game. I think maybe the Dunsparce deck I lost to, I might not have won a game. I can't remember now, but like did really well. So like really happy with it. I finished in like the low 600s, like 620th place or something, but
that's like top 25%.
It was top 25%. And if I had beaten Mill, I would have been in the top 15%. So like the way I look at it, like huge success, did really well, had a lot of fun, like very happy with the way I played. Super glad I played Lugia since I saw 0 turbo hands and 0 Tian Pao. But and I did really well into those ancient box.
That's because those are at the top tables.
But, I was at the top.
No, I know. They were just at the other table.
Okay, sure.
The one lower than you. All
right, so it's been great. So shall we take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about maybe some other decks that were played in Orlando or something.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. So we'll be back right after this.
42-45.
Abrupt break. All right, I love it. Justin keeping us on track. Because I get lost.
Sometimes we just keep going, no break, and it's like, oh, we're done. Oh, well.
Okay.
All right.
Get some water. Drink something. Or at least pretend like you're drinking some water.
I got eye drops. Does that count?
I could use this. I could really use an eye drop right now.
You guys familiar with The Office?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So you know the like Office wants you to tell the difference between this picture and that picture.
Yeah.
Justin, you should screenshot that.
Yeah. I'll get it later.
All right. Fine.
All right.
And we are back. All right, just some housekeeping before we continue on with the back half of the show. This episode of the Special Conditions podcast is brought to you by our Patreon. Everything we do here on the Pokemon Professor Network is powered by our community. You can join our community of supporters on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. We offer a range of support tiers and various benefits. All patrons will be gaining access to our patron-exclusive Discord, which is a fantastic place filled with fantastic people like Fast, like Justin, like myself. We're in there. Lunatonian's in there. And we currently have a goal of hitting $500 in Patreon support. And you can help us over on patreon.com/Pokemon Professor. With tiers as low as $1 a month, you can support a collective of hardworking part-time creators that have a passion for Pokemon and podcasting here at the Pokemon Professor Network.
There's a lot of things to read.
Woo.
Oh, do we even put it in the notes yet about the new peeps? Adam, you look lost.
What about the Lost Box? No. We have Lane from Good Morning Johto congratulations or welcome aboard.
Welcome to the group. Welcome to the group.
Welcome to the squad.
And we also have, in a more official capacity, we have
Purified Podcast.
Purified Podcast coming in.
All right.
And Adam's trying to get us to do a sleep cast.
And, yeah, we're getting there. We're gonna get there. But the thing is like I don't know much about it. You're kind of the expert out of the two of us. I just hit the Pokemon, I touch the berries, and then I feed it. And as long as I'm not doing at random and making a recipe, then I know I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
That's all
I've got a couple level 50 Pokemon.
I have 0.
They're good. So, okay, so shall we talk about?
Hold on, we have to shout out. Huge thank you to our gym leaders: Beardbo Baggins, Ben, DJ Wonderbread, GK, Jamal, Joseph, Kimberly, and Mythical Hitch, Noggin Dude, and Joseph. Special thanks to our executive producer, Tish Smith, as well as our other executive producers on the network, Paul Bott and Kate the Cons. Make sure to check out PokemonProfessor.com for links to everywhere you can connect with us and grab some merch and leave us reviews. We would greatly appreciate it. That helps people find us. All right, Justin, let's talk about Orlando.
Orlando.
I mean, it's not like we haven't been talking about Orlando this whole time.
For those of you that don't know, every time I see Orlando, I can just think of from Book of Mormon, the song about how the main character wants to go to Orlando so bad for his mission. It's pretty funny. Look at the song. Anyways, so if you didn't know, Liam Halliburton won the regional. And do you recognize the name Liam Halliburton?
Are we talking to Andy or myself?
Either.
Yes. One of the hosts of the Trashalanche podcast, which is a fantastic podcast. And their attendance is 100%.
Yeah, I'm just, bravo to a podcast pulling through. And also, he was the seniors world champion in 2022.
Wow.
Yeah.
I totally I didn't even realize how young he was.
Oh yeah, no, he's like
I've been listening
19.
to the podcast and I'm like always talks about like being his son, and I'm like, oh, now it all makes sense. It all makes sense.
Yeah. Because I remember from earlier days in the pod when I was listening to it, and he was talking about how he played in the London Open as like a senior, back before he made the transition to Masters. And so that's how I knew how young he was. But yeah, so let's look at his deck.
A lot of great minds on that podcast. Like it is definitely a worthy podcast to listen to. It is more, if you were like hardcore TCG, like I want to be the best, that's the podcast.
Yeah, we're here for laughs, a good time, and maybe some collecting.
We like to compete, but it's like being parents is very difficult to get time, because like hockey season just ended, and like now it's going into the summer, so it's like now some Saturdays are opening up, but it's like you have to pick and choose. Can't go to every event.
And speaking of picking and choosing, Liam was like, you know what? Towards the man, he just won with this deck. I'm going to play the same 60, except I want to be a little cheeky and get rid of Jirachi and put another Charmeleon. Isn't that funny? He's just like, I'm going to play the same deck. And then he basically won with the same deck.
Hey, if it ain't broke,
Take the smartest guy in the room and just steal his stuff. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Charmeleon instead of Jirachi. I think, situationally, like the Charmeleon is going to be good every game you play, right?
Yeah.
Jirachi is obviously situational.
Yes.
You already have a lot of situational tool cards. He didn't get punished by Lost Box. I think he said he barely even played Lost Box.
Yes,
And
yeah.
do you know what I found the most funny about? I don't know where I even like. Well, maybe it was like after the stream. Oh yeah, it was like after the stream, like talking about like how he practiced and stuff. He said he just built the top 8 decks from EUIC and then solo, like chess played them.
Hey, literally, that's what I do because it's the only thing I can do. I don't have anybody against like with me. But yeah, this is, and it's like, it's crazy that there's, I mean, I get you have Pidgeot in the deck, but there's literally just one-offs for like everything.
Well, I mean,
One,
that's
one,
like
one, one, one,
Tord
one, one,
List Extraordinaire is one-offs. You just have to be good enough, like, but Liam is good enough to be able to pilot it. I couldn't pilot this thing. I mean, I could pilot it, just not well.
It's like pretty consistent in the sense of, you know, you've got your 4-3, 4-2-3 Charizard, right? Essentially,
Yeah.
the 4 Charmander, 2 Charmeleon, 3 Charizard, the 2-2 Pidgeot, and then like a lot, like the one-off kind of supporter Pokemon, more or less. But you know, you still have 4 Candy, 4 Buddy Poffins, 4 Ultra Balls.
Yeah.
You've got the 4 Sealstone, like, and then all of the one-offs are like just kind of super useful techs that allow you to take like so many different lines to getting to the final win. But I don't know. Charizard just has, there's just, you can't go wrong with it because there's just so many options to win the game and so many different ways to navigate every matchup. But
And to comics is like, how about that Cleffa? Yeah, being able to drop a 7.
So I forgot to say it. I was bricking so hard with Lugia practicing Friday afternoon. And I had already gone over to the convention center to get like my pass and stuff.
Yeah.
I brought my Charizard deck because I didn't want to make the same mistake I made when I went to Knoxville and just bring my Serena deck. I'm like, I'm not playing Lugia. I'm going to play Charizard. And I ran back over to the convention center to buy a Cleffa to put in my Charizard.
Oh, that's so funny.
But obviously ended up back.
And they were like $10.
50 cents.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Whew.
Yeah.
As long as they're not overcharging you.
But yeah, no, but like, we also have to remember, Adam, you also have Pidgeot, and it relies on Pidgeot in this decks. And it's just, let me go get that one card that I need right now, as long as it's not knocked out. So that's how you can afford to play so many one-ofs.
True.
So we know Zard, true and true, but the real surprise in the top 8, as much as Adam wants it to be his Chin Pao, that was the second most popular deck.
No, but look, Reagan Redsloff, 4th place.
Yeah.
Fabrizio Silva, 8th
Still
place.
not.
I'm just saying there was 2 in top 8.
Still not the biggest surprise. The biggest surprise was Ancient Box getting in second.
I think this deck stinks. I don't understand how
I don't.
second place
It's.
with it.
I don't. Man, I don't know how. I guess
you
you're
guys
just
watch
always like
the-
2-shot and everything.
I did, yes.
I did. I watched. Yeah, I definitely watched
finals?
this match. And was it this one or the match before where he goofed big time?
They both goofed in the finals, I think, a little
Yes.
bit.
Yeah.
And it's like,
But
he
like,
has
I
to
understand
get like,
it's 2 days in a row of playing back-to-back
Oh, yeah.
matches all day long. Plus, you're on the stream.
he's got to get like 27 of his 29 Ancient Box cards or something ridiculous.
Oh, he
like
was
that
counting them so many
to be
times.
able to get the one-hit KO.
Yeah,
on Charizard.
yeah.
It's just like, how are you going to go into a room of Charizard with this deck where your entire deck has to be in the discard pile, but you still need like these 2 or 3 specific, you know, the one Roaring Moon with 2 energy on it. And like, I don't know, I just don't get it.
My question is like, why isn't okay, because it's, you can't power it up, but like you'd think like a Ditto would find its way in there, right? To be able to use
It's not an
attack.
ancient card,
But Adam,
though.
it's not ancient. No one's playing Ditto.
Yes, I understand that it's not ancient, but it can use the attacks of basic Pokemon from the discard, so you can have as many ancient Pokemon in the discard and then use its ability. I don't know.
I mean, he's still got room for more ancient, right? Like he could have put in a 4th Koraidon, I suppose, but
Like just threw in a double turbo would be that would be reverse. You'd be minusing 10. But you could technically use it. I'm just saying.
Oh, Tacomic says Ancient Ditto win. Yeah, Adam, when
I
are you
hope
building this deck?
Ancient Ditto. I don't know. I'm gonna play United Wings first.
Oh man, now talk about a bad deck. But it's cool to see like a box of not even that many Pokemon, a bunch of supporters, and a bunch of tools, and some energy with a bunch of low HP Pokemon doing this well. I don't think I could pilot it, but it's pretty cool.
I don't know. I built this for Ashton, and I've just ended up playing it, and I'm having so much fun with it because
Yeah?
it feels like Lost March. It feels like Mad Party. It feels like
Oh.
United Wings. Just so much stronger, so much more consistent.
Yeah, it's just the next one on the. It's crazy though, just like, because it's just plus 10 for each ancient card in the discard. It just feels like it wouldn't be enough, but sure enough, there's enough discard.
Well, it's because Roaring Mood starts at 70. It's not
Yeah.
like 20 plus 10. It's
Yeah.
not 10. It's
Yeah.
not, you know,
It's
it's
true.
not a
That
it's
is
not a
true.
baby number. It literally is 70 damage plus 10. And you got to imagine you can easily throw, 5 or 6 things in the discard.
Also,
Easy.
might I say, Vengeance Fletching. What an awesome attack name.
I refuse to play a deck that has to play that Explorer's Guidance card. Draw 6, keep 2,
No,
get rid of 4.
and
Like,
honestly-
and it's a whole part of the
man.
deck. I get it, but like I refuse to play that card. Like I know I would
You didn't
describe
consider
myself
playing it in
crazy with that
Lugia?
card.
No, so it's actually like it's not that great. Like Professor's Research is actually better because then you're not only dealing with like 2 cards that you want to grab and discarding 4 potential cards.
Magic
You're getting
card.
rid of like I know I'm getting rid of these 2 or 3 cards, but I'm going to get to be able to use all 7 of these new ones. That's so much better.
Yeah. You got to play it for the ancient factor, but like having him like I
you, though?
struggle playing like Colress with the 3 of 5. I get to keep
Yeah.
2 of 6. Like it's not.
Oh,
for
and
me.
it's crazy because like on the Pokestop, you actually want to hit like Pokemon and stuff that you're going to discard.
Right. Yeah.
It's like it's just how can I discard my deck?
And I love Ancient Drum. I love it so much. I think
what does Ancient Drum do again?
you just draw a card for each ancient Pokemon to play,
Okay,
and you
so
only
it could
have
be a
ancient
draw
Pokemon.
6. Now you
Yeah.
probably
I mean,
are
as an
playing
item, it's pretty
Greninja,
cool,
so draw
but-
5.
Yes, yeah. And it's just like an extra draw supporter. I don't know if it's the ideal card to play. I think it is because it is an ancient
Probably
card,
is.
and you can just play it to play it. Like you could literally just draw 1, and it's a +1 to your attack. So
Yeah, I mean like most of the time you're gonna have a pretty full bench. So when are you gonna not want to draw 5?
like I mean, I'd like to see damage modifiers.
Defiance Band. Now the problem is like
Yeah.
when you start adding those, you're subtracting from your ancient count.
Right, but you don't necessarily have to have 4 ancient booster. If you opted to play 1 Defiance Band, yes, you're minusing 10 potential damage, but you're adding 20 potential damage with that attack.
Comics wants to know why doesn't this play any Professor's Research? Because if you're gonna just discard a bunch of cards.
So I think it's like this is the second place list. So it's definitely hyper consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I think Professor's Research is just honestly it's a personal opinion. Like you are trying to do one thing and do one thing well.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would cut a Pokestop and throw a Professor's Research in before I would have extra Pokestops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you can't cut the 8 ancient supporters. You have to play those, and you need to play a supporter every turn. Every time you play an ancient supporter, it's 10 more.
I think if you got rid of, I think you could afford to get rid of 2 ancient cards in general, and then you can add either 2 Defiance Bands or
What would you get
something
rid
like
of?
that.
Earthen Vessel? I would think
No, because Earthen Vessel is just a card that you can just play. You aren't
you're not
limited
getting rid
to
of
it
Ancient
being a
Booster.
supporter.
You're not getting rid of Ancient Booster.
So I counted up. There's 29 ancient cards, If you figure you have to be attacking with the Roaring Moon, there's only 28 then that could be in your discard pile. If all 28 of them, besides the one Roaring Moon, are in your discard, you're hitting 350. So you only have room if you want to one-shot a Charizard, which is 25% of
I
the
think
meta.
you're just not
You need your
one-shotting a
entire
Charizard.
deck.
Yeah, you're just not. You're just not.
I think you're just losing to Charizard then, though. Like,
Yeah.
if you never one-hit KO a Charizard, unless they just don't get set up at all.
I'm surprised it doesn't play like Maximum Belt.
Yeah,
But I guess-
I feel like
but it only
needs,
works the
it
one
needs
time, but-
damage modifications to
Yeah.
deal with this.
Or, I don't know, what's it called? Crisis Punch?
Well, that's only 280.
The problem with Maximum Belt is your Pokemon are so frail, right? And so like you're going to get to use it once.
Yeah.
And you've got no way to get it unless you play an
But
Orchid.
it's a tool. Can't you use that
At the very least, let's appreciate that this is like a cheap deck. What does it say? $40.
For sure. I think I heard some people talking about that the Roaring
Earth and
Moons
Vessel.
have gone up to like $4 or $5. Or I guess it says just $1, I suppose. But why is Earth and Vessel so expensive? Or that's for the 4 of them, I guess.
Yeah.
Listen, Roseanne's backup.
Yeah. I don't know. It's pretty interesting. We could talk about it all day, I'm sure. But there are other decks. What deck would you like to talk about next? All right, let's talk about Adam's Chien Pao. Come on. What do we want to talk about? Reagan's list or Fabrizio's list?
Fabrizio's.
All right.
Because I believe
in eighth.
Because I believe if you look at it and you like go down,
Is it because this one has Iron Bundle?
they both have Iron Bundle. I did it.
Iron
I did some
Bundle's good.
extensive. I did some extensive research and actually looked at all these. So, Reagan actually, there's 4 people that use the same exact deck list.
Oh, okay.
Reagan, Redsloff, Grant Chen, John Eng, Lucas Xing.
All right, then they're in like the same group, or they
So
just have to play.
it's 4th place, 18th place, 25th place, and 48th place.
Wow, they did
So-
good.
Pretty good.
So this is tried and true. So like that's tried and true, and then you've got Fabrizio's, which I did look at everything, and I think the difference is Fabrizio opts to play 2 Chien Pao versus all the other people playing used 3 Chien Paos.
Playing two
Two
just
Chien
makes me
Paos.
nervous.
Yeah, I mean, if they're both prized, you kind of lose, right? I mean,
You have the heavy ball, but man,
yeah, I guess that
But-
you get the heavy ball with Irida if you have to.
And all 4 of those players played Silene, which is like the notable like tech. Silene says flip 2 coins, put a number of cards up to the number of heads from your discard pile on the top of your deck in any order, and that's how you could get your
Prime Catcher back.
Prime Catcher back. So that was a really cool tech. It was really cool to see. But if you go into Fabrizio's, he was using Iono.
wait.
Iona was
I
the
had Fabrizio's open.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it like because I'm just flipping through back and forth.
Yeah,
But yeah, so Fabrizio is using Iono verse, but for the most part, everything else is the same.
how much different is this list from the list that you've been playing, Adam?
So my list that I've been playing, it's a little different. I only have 1 Earthen Vessel. Oh, okay. So I guess those 4 that played only had 1 Earthen Vessel. But I played 10 energies. Because like every time I've seen Chien Pao get into a position where it can't get out of, it's because they're like an energy short.
Pull up to the list.
Are you playing hands too?
I am playing hands, and I hate having that 1 lightning energy take up a water spot.
Sure.
But you gotta play the hands.
And I run a 3/2 barrel, and I currently am on a 3-1-2 Baxcalibur because it's nice to just like evolve and just have that ready, even if they knock me out. But then again, I'm not playing Manaphy, but none of these lists are playing Manaphy.
That is interesting that none of them are playing Manaphy. I mean, I guess everything yours, besides Friggy, everything else is above, because Bidoof blocks itself. Everything else is above the 90 HP.
Yeah. But like then I was playing a game and I evolved into Arctibax, and I was like, man, if they just are able to get energies on their Greninja and put that active, I'm like, they just take 2 prize cards. My Bidoof's in the active. I have an evolved Arctibax in the back, and they weren't able to. So I was able to like get everything set up literally like next turn, and I won the whole thing. I think I'm like 7-0 right now with.
So Adam, what did you drop for the extra energy?
I don't have Lost Vacuum in mine.
Do you have Canceling Cologne?
I have Canceling Cologne, yes. Yeah, actually, I have it right here. I could probably... I actually don't know if it's even in order. I hope it is, because I haven't played with it. Nope, it's not.
Yeah, Canceling Cologne's pretty good. So you can Greninja them.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, and this is me being me. I currently don't own a Prime Catcher, so Master Ball's in here. And then... but it's cool because it's the old Master Ball.
Oh, nice.
This A-Spec.
Nice.
And
until it happened, I didn't realize they were gonna like be a straight up reprint, like 1-for-1. You can reuse these cards.
I think right now I have 3 Buddy Buddy Poffins, not 4.
You should buy another one.
And I have a Boss's Orders in there, which should not be.
Buddy Buddies usually goes for like $1. You just gotta
I have 3. I just don't have. Well, no, I do have 4. I just pulled a 4th one. I don't know. I haven't been to any tournaments, so I haven't like had the drive to go after it, and I just really want to play Torterra.
Oh man, I came across this Twitter thread earlier. They're like, why do they hate Torterra? Because it's like Turtwig is 80 HP. It's like 10 HP too high.
And if did you read the comments? Like it's so good. It's so good.
Oh man, but I mean that's a good point that all these Pokemon really benefit from being below that 70 HP threshold, and Turtwig being at 80 really hurts it. Who would have thought a high HP basic would hurt you?
And I think this is where like you could just use Master Ball in the deck. Play Master Ball. You play the Heavy Ball, or the Hisuian Heavy Ball, like just in case it's
Nest
in the prize
Ball.
card.
Pokeball.
You play Artisan. So you can go search for one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could still play Buddy Buddy Poffins to get like barrels and stuff like that. I think it could still do well. I don't know. I guess that puts it into perspective a little bit, but I feel like Torterra is good.
Yeah.
But the whole thread was just about how bad Torterra was. So. I haven't tried it, so I don't know.
Maybe we should just start trying it, and then we start bricking and be like, "Yep, that's bad."
Yeah, well, I need the Torterras. I think I have one. I might have 2, but I think I just have 1.
Okay. Is there any other? I'm gonna pull the list back up, see if there's any more you want to talk about, or we might get close to calling it a show because we're at the 70-minute mark.
Whoa. Okay.
Let me go back to the list. See if there's anything anyone wants to talk about. There's Gardevoir. There's... I don't know if you guys are watching the stream. Well, obviously Andy wasn't. But when they called it Duns and Dragons. Oh, hilarious. Amazing. It makes... I'm still waiting for my Dunsparce to come in the mail, darn it. It's been over a week, and I'm just like, come on! Let's see.
I think the Gardevoir lists are pretty good. I've started fooling around with them a little bit.
Yeah. Did you look at these two? Cal
And
Karma.
listen,
yeah, I looked at Joshua's. I know.
with the maximum belt, you could play a 1 tech of Roseanne's backup because you can shuffle a Pokemon from your discard pile back into your deck. You could shuffle a tool card back into your deck,
Oh,
shuffle a
oh
stadium card back
man,
into your deck, shuffle an energy back in your deck. Those seem like pretty good cards to have. You're like, let me
Roseanne's
just.
backup. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but like in the new format, there's another A spec that like doesn't you won't get knocked out. It's a Pokemon tool.
Oh, it's one less prize if it's attached to a.
No,
Pokemon.
that's an energy. I think this is a tool. It's like survival cast. I think if you get knocked out, you go down to 10 energy or 10 health. So people put it on their Cincino, so you can't knock out the Cincino. That's like fully powered up. But if you can Roseanne's backup that back multiple times, like that would be insane. I haven't seen Roseanne's
Ooh.
backup on any of those lists, but I mean, if you could get like 4 turns of Cincino out of 2 prizes, that would be nuts.
Wow.
But yeah, this Gardevoir list, like you get that heavy cape on the Drifloon, and you're doing like 400 damage or something crazy like that.
That was crazy. I watched that on the stream. I was like, I didn't realize what this Drifloon did.
Yeah, so you got the cape, the hero's cape, the luxurious cape, and the bravery charm.
30
Just get
damage for
all
each
this extra
damage counter on this Pokemon.
And you could just
hitting
keep
huge
attaching.
Yeah, so hero's cape, it goes to 170. You can get 160 damage counters on it. So 160 times 30.
That's 480. 480.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, you're KOing literally everything with a cape.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's actually quite insane.
I know. That was pretty fun to watch on stream.
And then the Screamtail sniping with it. It doesn't. The damage output's not as high, but if you put it on the Screamtail, it's doing a ton too. But
20
whatever you
damage
want
to
on
one
the
of your
bench.
opponent's Pokemon for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Yeah.
And what's the luxurious cape?
That is.
It's 100 health still, but you get 2 prize cards if they knock you out, I think.
Yeah. So it's like, having not played the deck, I would guess this is like a like towards end game type thing that you pull this out then.
Yeah.
Put on your Drifloon.
Yeah, because like they're anticipating the hero's cape, but not the luxurious cape. You need to put on your most dapper cape, sir. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think there's stuff that we haven't even explored. I think we're so focused and like our blind goggles are on. Not our blind goggles, but
Our blind goggles.
I can't see anything. No. What's it called when you're like tunnel vision? It is. I think we're in tunnel vision right now. I think that is what we're in.
We look at Japanese lists and like that's what it is.
Yeah, like it's just this is it, and it's like in Japan you can see lists that have done well. Like you see a top 4, but if it isn't first, nobody cares. And it's like their games are like best of 1, right? Like I don't know how their format is, but like it's all chance. And here we are, best of 3. So it really comes down to like it really like pulls our skill. Like our skill has to be there. And it's like, yes, you can have a good deck list, but you have to be able to run it.
Speaking of running it with skill.
Now, but like look at all these lists. So if you look at all those Chien-Paos,
Dialga.
Oh my gosh. No. But look at this. Look at Dialga. Dialga's not even running any snipe protection.
Well, yeah, because you just get to go twice in a row.
So I think we just find a deck that can snipe and just go for it. Like that's what we need.
Sniping. Yeah, oh, man, back in the day when you could play Salamence VMAX and do the sniping. So good.
That was terrible. Was it 50 damage to like 2 Pokemon?
It was 40 to 2, thank you, unless you use powerful energy. And then, but there was also, you could do swoop across, and you do 30 to every Pokemon, which is my favorite to do, just over and over again.
Isn't there a future Iron Jug list that does a bunch of damage to the bench? I think that could be useful.
Yeah.
I
I don't
think
know.
I think it's got a condition where like it only does it to Pokemon that have damage counters on it already. It's another one of these like 30 damage or something, I think.
50 damage to
to
3 of your
3.
opponent's Pokemon that have any damage counters on them. Weird. Yeah, that's too
What about
specific.
Trevenant? Find Trevenant real quick. Find Trevenant.
From what?
Oh
Obsidian
god,
Flames?
I think so. Yeah, during your opponent's checkup, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, put 1 damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. Okay, that's not as good as I thought it was, but
Well, in the next set, which we'll talk about next time, there's some more Pokemon that's coming out in future sets that deal weird stuff with like the damage counters during checkup type thing. Extra damage counters.
because isn't there a Gengar EX? Isn't Gengar EX does damage if they put it from their hand? Because you could like Gengar EX plus have this Trevenant active. They're attaching energies, putting damage counters on the cells. Then you're hitting for 100. They can't retreat. In order to retreat, they have to attach energies from their hand to the Pokemon. I don't know. I feel like there's something.
I think the Gengar takes energy off of your opponent's Pokemon, something like that.
Okay, well there's 2 different ones. There's like a normal stage one that's dark. I think it does that. I don't know. I'm sleepy. I'm tired. My brain is in like fire mode.
So here's the EX. Whenever your opponent attaches an energy card from the hand to one of their Pokemon, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon.
Okay,
Tricky
so it's that one.
2 dark for 160. You may move an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon to one of their bench Pokemon.
See, that's fun.
It's like Trick Room.
Try that with Charizard. you get a heads on like on a crushing hammer, and then you move one to like Manaphy, and you're like, good luck. I don't know. I feel like 6 energies, like that doesn't even make sense to me. How do we lost zone those energies? How do we get rid of those energies?
Speaking of lost zone energies, I think it's time to lost zone the show.
Oh, jeez. All right, looks like
we've derailed long enough.
All right. Thanks you everybody for watching, hanging out with us. Send us an email. Send us a picture, voicemail, anything. But special conditions at PokemonProfessor.com for email. For text, pictures, voicemails, 732-835-8639. And that's it, Justin.
Oh, I would also like to apologize for the delay in all the audio versions of this podcast going out. We're in the middle of trying to transition the editing to me from the Grand Poobah himself, Master Ken, and I haven't learned to do it yet. So soon enough.
Yes, we appreciate being called out on our Zoom call on Monday. Which, if you're not in our Patreon, join and then hang out with us every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
That's a good time.
I don't know if I've expressed that to any TCG players, but we'll be there hanging out. So yeah, come hang out. All right, Justin, is that all?
I think that's it.
All right, trainers. Remember, wait, hold on. Andy, do you have anybody you want to shout out? Do you want to tell people where they can find you? Do you want people to even find you?
No, probably not. I'm on, on the Discord, FastPTCG. Other than that, I'll shout out my daughters, Cecilia and Layla, because they'll get a kick out of that.
Oh, wonderful. They're going to be the best there ever was.
That's right.
Amazing.
All right, trainers, remember, if you're affected by a special condition, don't forget to use a full heal. Have a great night.
Good night.